Mayor, members of council, Chris Ricci, producer of X-Fest. Thank you for the opportunity to address you today. Despite differences that arise from time to time, we're all here because of a common interest, and that's the prosperity of the city of Modesto. X-Fest has been an increasingly important part of the city's fabric since the year 2000, starting as a 7,000-seat outdoor music festival with 5 stages and over 16 years developing into a 17,000-person, 20-stage, 14-block festival. Since the beginning, the event has brought in popular national acts while also showcasing local talent, and we've taken a great deal of pride in our commitment to featuring a wide variety of acts, reflecting the change in our community's demographics. X-Fest has grown, and as it's grown, so has its economic impact. Cindy mentioned it reached $1.76 million for a single day, which outpaces any other single day event in Stanislaus County. It's one of the busiest days of the year for area hotels, the busiest day of the year for taxis and ride-sharing services like Uber and Lyft, the most profitable day of the year for many downtown businesses, and it provides a much-needed extra paycheck for hundreds of part-time workers we hire at the event. During our 16-year history, many other festivals and events have come and gone, but X-Fest is still going strong and more popular than ever. One reason for the level of success is our ability to evolve, address challenges, and solve problems, usually doing so by working with the city of Modesto. For example, any large event generates trash and debris, but the day following X-Fest is indisputably the cleanest day of the year in downtown Modesto. Overnight, before area businesses open the following day, we thoroughly clean the entire downtown from Needham to B Street, leaving it completely free of refuse. We've never had a complaint about the effort we put into making downtown the cleanest it can possibly be. And as the event has grown, we've increased security accordingly. Last year, we hired 200 private security guards to ensure the safety and comfort of everyone who attends. We've developed dress codes to make the event safer, and we've worked hand in hand with emergency services to efficiently deal with the issues that arise from an event of this magnitude. We've also done everything in our power, even when it's costly and inconvenient, to accommodate the wishes of the city and its downtown businesses. When the Gala Center asked us to move the date of X-Fest for a Wayne Brady performance, we did it. When Brendan Theaters asked us to move the entrance, we complied. When Aladdin asked for special passes to enable their clients to get into their office, we accommodated. When Palladium asked us to not close the street until midnight on Friday night, we made it happen. We have a great relationship with downtown businesses because we've always been willing to compromise when we're asked to do it. Well, one thing we won't do is cave to extortion, and that's what Galetto's is trying to do. Galetto's approached me with a demand of $20,000 to make up what they claim is lost revenue for the single-day event. This didn't especially surprise me because they have a well-chronicled history of bullying downtown events, beginning with a threat to sue the city after the kart race. In that case, they settled for $7,500, but when I refused to pay them off, they demanded that X-Fest be moved. Now they've come forward with a petition that is faulty and incredibly misleading. Of a total of 13 signatures representing downtown businesses, 1 is a duplicate, and I just got another one. 3 have been rescinded, and I can give you a copy of that. We started our own petition and received 2,982 signatures, and to date we've gotten signatures from 59 businesses supporting closing the streets for X-Fest. That's an 84% sign-off rate, and it will go higher in the next few weeks as we collect signatures from business owners who have been out of town. The event is good for downtown and it's good for their businesses. They know that if X-Fest is forced to move from downtown, the event will no longer exist, resulting in lost revenue and yet another sign that the city does not support the needs of its young adult population. At this point, I have to address the reports that were prepared by the city and the police department in anticipation of discussing the entertainment permit for X-Fest. While I appreciate the time that went into them, the reports are inaccurate and misleading in many respects. For example, while the city's report notes Harvest Moon and Conchetta have at times chosen to close on the night of X-Fest, both those business owners have signed off on the permission to close the streets. They support the event because it's good for downtown in general. In addition, the report fails to mention a number of establishments that do a huge amount of business during X-Fest, including Barking Dog, Rancho Fresco, Alafendi, Thailand, Fat Cat, Palladium, Cheroot, Speakeasy, and Tokyo Express. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the majorities are ethnic restaurants. None of these businesses seem to be welcome in downtown Modesto anymore. From the inception of XFest, I've made it a point to be completely transparent about the event, including the challenges we've faced, as well as its positive aspects. I wish I could say the same for the city and the police department. The police department maintains that we couldn't hire enough appropriate security staff, which is simply untrue. They base this assumption on a miscommunication that occurred last year when our private security company misunderstood the city's requirement for the number of licensed guards and planned to use trained gate staff in some cases. Once we cleared up the misunderstanding, even though it was a last-minute scramble, we managed to pick up an additional 40 licensed guard, and the city's requirements were met. To say that we can't get the appropriate number of guards at this point, more than 4 months out from the event, is simply preposterous. The city is also, the police department has also expressed a concern about an increase in the number of incidents at last year's events. Again, I'm committed to complete transparency. And in 2015, we had a clearly stated goal of increasing diversity, which reflects the changing demographics of our region. Toward that goal, we brought in new stages and a diverse range of regional entertainment, and the results were mixed. The new acts proved very popular, but they also faced some new security issues, which, as always, we have already made plans to address this year. I especially take exception to having XFest inaccurately connected to the shooting that took place last year, several hours after the event and several miles away at the Kansas Hall nightclub. This venue has long reflected poorly on the responsible entertainment establishments in Modesto. Kansas Hall has been conducting illegal high-risk events for 6 years, operating with no business license, no entertainment permit, no liquor license, and no intervention from the city of Modesto. The reason for this is clear to anyone willing to face the unvarnished truth. Kansas Hall is on the city's west side, and the west side is an area that city management wants nothing to do with. XFest is in no way responsible for what happened there last year. Instead, the responsibility falls squarely on the shoulders of city management, who consistently refuse to regulate an illegal business being run in a part of town it chooses to ignore, while doing everything possible to run legitimate entertainment operators out of business and out of downtown. When that happens, the criminal element takes over, and that's the current situation, whether you want to face it or not. The bottom line is that when issues arise with XFest, as they do with every event in every city around the world, they are completely manageable. The solution is not to cancel the event or force it to move out of downtown, which would have the same effect. The solution is for all the parties to work together to solve each issue effectively and ensure that a hugely popular and lucrative event continues to add a diverse range of entertainment offered in our community. So what needs to happen? The city and the police department need to stop looking for reasons to shut down XFest and fully open the lines of communication with me and my staff. For 16 years, under 3 previous police chiefs, we worked together to find solutions to every issue that has arisen since XFest was launched in 2000. And there's no reason we can't do that now. It needs to start with a fair and unbiased hearing process. I filed my application the second week of January, legally entitling me to a hearing within 60 days. This has never been a problem until this year. Suddenly, my application is being deemed incomplete, even though city officials are well aware that some components like finalizing vendors, completing dozens of insurance documents, and obtaining a liquor license can't be completed until near the event. This has always been the case, and this year is no different. These delaying tactics, which are a clear attempt to end XFest, will result in tens of thousands of dollars in lost sponsorship revenues and severely hinder my ability to book talent for the event. In addition, city staff forgot to fulfill their obligation to publicly post the event, resulting in an additional 3-week delay in bringing this matter to a vote. The city has also added a few new requirements that have never been added in the past, including a $20,000 bond and an unprecedented $5 million in insurance. Needless to say, this creates a financial hardship for an event that has a strong track record of responsible management in every respect. Unless the city places the same requirements on other events, this is clearly a case of discrimination. The process of working together to ensure a safe and enjoyable event has to include all parties making an honest and reasonable effort. The city's report recommends moving XFest off J Street, which clearly is not possible. If we move east, we hit the county jail. If we move north, we run into the K Street garage and the requirement that it's available for the Brendan Theater. Moving south is not an option because of Modesto PD headquarters, and we can't move west because 9th Street is a state highway and a major thoroughfare. Moving the event is simply not an option. It's never been an option, and it never will be. City officials have known this all along. Refusing to allow X-Fest to take place in downtown will put an end to the event and all the revenue and good it creates. As we've gone through this process over the last few months, it's become increasingly clear to me that unfortunately, Brent Sinclair and his staff are the wrong people to manage large events for our community. As we've witnessed, the mismanagement of the kart race that lost $150,000 for the city and failed to clean up the venue for a full 3 weeks, as well as the Amgen $75,000 sponsorship. Those are just a couple of the examples of the stunningly poor management decisions made by Brent and his staff. Now the decisions, or in many cases lack thereof, are impacting X-Fest. A combination of lackadaisical communication and purposefully throwing up roadblocks has resulted not only in unnecessary delays in my application process, but also in crucial information being left out of my application packet. As a result, the department that is charged with economic development for our community is instead jeopardizing events that have had a long positive economic impact on the area. Fortunately, the city already has people that are far more capable of effectively handling events of this nature. Bob Quintella is one person who I highly recommend be assigned to handle the city's responsibility for X-Fest, even though he'll be unlikely to thank me for this suggestion. His 30 years of experience successfully managing major events, including the entire Oakland Coliseum complex, make him by far the most qualified person to lead us forward. Bob's previous work with X-Fest speaks for itself and has been a major factor in our growth and success. There's no question in my mind that putting Bob in the helm is the right thing to do to continue the success of this event. I'd like to make a couple more points and then I'll get on to let everybody else take the floor. Do I have a vested interest in the continuation and success of X-Fest? Of course I do. It's a critical piece of my business. It makes up 80% of my company's revenue, which is how I've supported my family here in Modesto for nearly 20 years. But X-Fest is about more than just me and my business. It's a community event. It draws people from all ages, races, ethnic backgrounds, and economic statuses, making it a beautiful embodiment of our city itself. And it's especially important as an attraction for young adults who have increasingly fewer options for entertainment here in Modesto. But unlike other community events, the city of Modesto does little to support X-Fest. While the city picks up the tab for Amgen, the kart race, and various parades and other events, I pay for almost all the services needed for X-Fest. I don't expect a free ride by any means, but I do expect reasonable fees that I can budget for well in advance of my event, and I expect the fair and equitable treatment that other legitimate community events are afforded without question. Finally, I would like to ask that we return to a spirit of cooperation and mutual assistance that exists for every other community event. Simply eliminating downtown entertainment venues and shutting down large events like X-Fest and the original graffiti on McHenry Avenue would certainly make the police department's job easier, but it's detrimental to the community as a whole and speaks poorly of our commitment to provide the needs and wants of all of our citizens. Modesto is a vibrant, diverse community that deserves to retain and support a wide variety of entertainment events. There's absolutely no reason we can't work together to ensure that X-Fest continues to be the popular draw that it's always been. Thank you.